Manners respect enough. Manners respect enough people. People sometimes um some things the way you want it in a workout, the way it's supposed to work out, Right, people? Sometimes how you want things is not how you get things. Sometimes you just have to work with things that come your way. Right, people? You have to look on certain things. You have to look on certain things and say, yes, at least we get something out of nothing. We just have to give thanks for that. Right, people? People, there's so much going on in our society. It's say it's like headlining and then it goes away, right? Because people it's not like people focus on anything too long. Everybody just look at things quick and turn them head. But we have to focus more upon what we're supposed to accomplish. It's so important for we get together somehow, some collective thinking or something. Because the individual glory now put it's not change the way it is. I'm serious. Things just a get worse. Things just a get worse. People. Enough love, enough love, enough love. I want to thank the people that might listen to my live slash pod class, education, learning, all of the goody stuff them right. And tell us a regular classroom never teach you certain things. Understand? Regular classroom, regular schools, even with parents, not even with parents teach you certain things. And teach you the basic, but certain things, even them, it's either them afraid to teach it or it wasn't allowed to be taught. Right? I say I'm going through history and I learn, I am understanding certain things. One of the things I'm for sure is evil have no color, just have a form. Evil people think the same, right? Evil people think that them are the hungry people in the world. Them are the hungry one who deserve love. Them are the hungry one who can love. Them are the hungry one can make decision for other people. It's just them. And that's how it work out to be. It's us against them. Oh, people. But then say it's some things where we have to learn and understand it's not easy. But at least we are aware. We understand certain things. Enough things may look upon and say, why it's like this? Why is this the way it is? But nobody no sit down and highlight nothing and say, well, These are the reason, these are the point, break it down. So when we look on certain things, you can see how it can be fixed, if it can be fixed. I tell you, if you Google, it's funny, if you Google color barrier, um, Jackie Robinson comes up. So it seems like say just Jackie Robinson alone encounter the color barrier. But then them say in baseball. So then just contextualize it just in a baseball sense, not just in a human sense. So I just Jackie Robinson did I go through the phase of the color barrier. I tell you, it's like, oh, history is written, people. It's just written how we say it's not right. And then people just say, oh, I saw it set. No, I not saw it set. I saw cement set. Cement mentality. Enough people have cement mentality. Them thoughts is just cementing, defeating us. And just understanding enough things enough people. I'm happy say I am understanding these things before. My next lifetime I have to come back and I learn these things over and over again. Right? So one of the things I always say throughout history, it's like there's never any justice. Right? I say, oh, cannot there not be any justice when everybody say equal rights and justice? Well, and a minority say injustice. The minority of the people them who do the evil, are the minority of the people them who corrupt the world. But the minority of the people them have the influence, have the money and the power, and the lies to back them up. The media also. All of them things I'm look upon, and I'm saying, so who's looking to change it? How come you just set that way and it can't change? Another thing I tell them said there's always something right through with history always look for created for undermine us. Always something. So me always hear about the Jim Crow era and the Jim Crow law, and me understand so the Jim Crow law is pretty much, and the Jim Crow era is pretty much any era and all era, because it's always evil people creating evil ways to keep themselves in power, or if you fool people. All of them things that always come down to lies. Most of these things, most of them, even today, everything is based on lie. That's why people love the lie so much. Me never understand why people gravitate to the lie so much. But if everything is based on a lie, obviously you're gonna love the lie. Everything based on a lie. Or two lies, or three lies. The lies can't stop. So I'm saying I did want to find out for myself, right? About this the Jim Crow law and what it means. So everything we do part one, then part two, part three, and then we can go into it. Cause you see, if you're gonna write a book, right, you're gonna have part one, part two, like chapter one, chapter two, chapter three, right? So this is why I said them things here for me. I am creating my own thoughts, but also I share them thoughts with other people, like-minded people. Because right through the area, it has to be like-minded people who do them things, Like-minded people love evil. If you don't love evil, you can't be offended. You won't be offended. But once you love evil, once you love equal injustice, and anywhere there's injustice, there's death. So when me say, all right, let me look on this thing, Jim Crow. So this is the part one of the Jim Crow. I'm gonna get it from Phoenix Sankofa. That's a film channel. I'm gonna tell you, so once you click on one of them channel, yeah, these channels is gonna give you other channel and give you the true history and how things is. At that me say these all of them information they just lie down there now, just a wait upon we if you just pick it up, right? Highlight it and show other people. This should never happen. But it keeps on happening and happening and happening to us. So how is it that we don't understand what's going on? As we proceed, people.
Major funding for the rise and fall of Jim Crow is provided by the National Endowment for the Humanities, expanding America's understanding for more than 30 years of who we were, who we are, and who we will be.
People, you see what I talk about? Because there's somebody out there, I write the history and I keep the history just the way it is. Nobody now look for change it, you know. Everybody I look for it just to be the way it was. As we proceed.
And by support from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people. Additional funding is provided by the John D. and Catherine T.
Determination. One generation dreamed of creating a better world for the next. New York Life is proud to bring you remarkable stories of dedication.
Gals and boys, I'm just from Tuckahoe. I'm going to sing a little song. My name's Jim Crow. Wheel about and turn about and do just so. Every time I wheel about, I jump Jim Crow. I went down to the river.
In 1836, Jim Crow is born. He begins his strange career as a malicious minstrel caricature of a black man, created by a white man to amuse white audiences. Jim Crow would come to symbolize one of the most tragic eras of race relations in American history, a time deeply rooted in promise and contradiction. 1865, 4 million Americans, slaves simply because they were born black, were now free. But in little over a decade, that promise was gone, replaced by a rigid system of laws designed to keep blacks from experiencing any of their newly achieved rights. It would be known as the era of Jim Crow, the American form of racial apartheid.
I tried to lean inside and get me a cup of water. And those white people beat me till I was unconscious. They thought I was dead.
My dad said, as long as you're living in this South, you're going to have to go to the back door in this town. Now, you just settle for that. He said, but one thing I want you to swear and promise to me, that you will never get used to it.
I'm not ashamed of the segregated and Jim Crow experience, all because we were able to devise techniques for survival that permitted us to abide our time and to wait until our change comes.
As most blacks were willing to bide their time, some began to fight back. In the late 1880s and 90s, they embarked on an uncertain campaign to secure voting rights. build their own communities, schools, businesses, and churches, and to demand redress against mob violence and lynching. The white supremacists fought back. By 1919, the Ku Klux Klan, which had been a Southern idiosyncrasy, became a national ideology. White supremacy, the power behind Jim Crow, appeared invincible. And over the next decade, the violence against blacks would grow even more horrific.
Okay, and that myself. So where the government, right through them era, and where is the government? Where is the policies?
But black Americans continued to battle, using the power of the press and ultimately the power of the courts to pursue their quest for freedom and equality against racism. The rise and fall of Jim Crow is their story. The story of strong men and women who would never accept the demeaning, threatening, and perilous world of Jim Crow. The rise and fall of Jim Crow is the story of those who, in the face of unending terror, achieved triumphs. Triumphs that would in time make America a better place, not just for themselves, but for all of us.
And that I want to keep on stressing. These people didn't want it just for themselves, you know. These people always fight for equal rights and justice. That's why I say when them people have them big house and them big car, them escape, but they can't leave. That's the difference between them and now, you know. The people know what them did a fight for. Today's society just a fight each other for nothing. As we proceed, people.
Conflict over black emancipation is as old as the nation. In 1861, the South left the Union rather than remain part of a country that restricted the expansion of slavery. At first, Abraham Lincoln saw the struggle as simply a war to save the nation, but in time, he would recast the Civil War as a war to end slavery. On January 1st, 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all slaves in the Confederate States. 6 months after the South surrendered, Congress ratified the 13th.
So, in the Confederate state, them are the state them where did a fight for keep slavery going. As we proceed, people.
Abolishing slavery. The federal government had made a promise to the former slaves, these newly freed men and women who knew what they wanted: education and the right to vote, equal rights in the courts, and mostly land.
What is it that your people need now that you're free? Our people need land, and they need tools to work the land. So there we begin to see the priority to own our own land.
I'm telling you, this also start out for the, you know. That's how it did start. For us to be independent, have our own thing, right? Create our own, have our own destiny, our own future. And if we should actually have to deal with any other race, we have our own already. That's why I say the way you feel now and say you not have nowhere to go back to. You know, everybody have them own country. Love them and take care of them. Right? It no matter. But we not with the unity where we're supposed to have to do that. Well, I might tell you say them things that it just show me how different we become from the people that we're supposed to be. And that me say no. Because then we did have so much pride in ourselves. Me said we did so strong. As we proceed, people.
Every colored man will be a slave and feel himself a slave until he can raise his own bale of cotton and put his own mark upon it and says, "This is mine." Without independence and self-employment, freedom would be meaningless. Peter Hall.
On Edisto Island off the coast of South Carolina, thousands of newly freed blacks were making that dream come true. On land abandoned by their former masters and given to them by the Union Army, they had built schools and churches, established family and community life. But they had heard.
Okay, so even in a today's society, when they say we can't do nothing, like this is a society where it's supposed to be so easy to prove so we can do them things here. Because then we didn't have no proof. We just did it. We were the original Nike. We just did it. And now we have to prove so we can't do it. I don't understand that part. I can't comprehend that part, you know. People, there's so much connection to everything, you know. Just the connection them we're missing, you know. We now pay attention to that. It's so key to us. So I am just diving into these things, but I tell you, say, how deep do I have to dive to continuously say the same thing? We're great. We're unlimited. We really are. But the things that want to stop we from being who we're supposed to be, most of the time, it's us stopping each other, not appreciating each other, not supporting each other. Then we had the support. That's one thing we said. Then we had the support. We had to support each other because nobody else will support us. So what's the difference now? Who are support we? Eh? Jeez. It's sometimes it's so overwhelming, you know. But me say that's not what it's supposed to be. It's for us to analyze these things, right? Create something for the next generation.
Rumors that their future was at risk. Lincoln had been assassinated, and a Southerner, Andrew Johnson, was president. Johnson fought to save the Union, but not to free slaves. This is a country for white men, he said, and as long as I'm president, it will be a government for white men.
Okay. And this are the government. Okay, you think him mean anything different from what him say or what them say right now? What's the difference between then and now? How is there a difference between then and now? When the same thing the man come in, where they elect, and the same thing what the man do. Him really make America white again because he's listening to his forefathers. This is what they said then. When I think that this is a one movie or something, people. But man, we. Me telling some unsubscribe to the man when the man say, Elon Musk, I'm friend. From here that come out and me never want to hear nothing anymore. Me just stop the same thing and just delete and just unsubscribe. You don't really know who your friend is? Jesus. As we proceed, people, I'm telling you, some of them topics are not gonna be easy, you know.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
On October 19th, 1865, a boat carrying a deeply troubled Union general, Oliver O. Howard, slowly made its way toward
October again, people. October 16. October. We just keep track of the month them too now because many times when time we look on certain things, it's not even similar. It's so eerily similar. Because if them use a pattern, right? Them now if it change the pattern, them just continue with the same pattern. I'm gonna say sometimes the pattern them so sick. But we don't understand. We are the one who don't understand. We choose not to understand, deliberately choose not to understand. How is that? Because we know say it's a responsibility for us to understand. If we understand what them say, if you know, you can't unknow. So if we don't understand, that means we don't have no responsibility, but we do have a responsibility, and the responsibility is to understand and share what we understand. That's why I say from the start out this, I just feel, I can't explain how I feel, you know, but I just feel say, one, this is the things that I was supposed to be doing because this is what I was listening for. Two, the agendas of some people who say they're like us, but they're not. Three, the people them who have the circle, the loop going, them know that this is what we're supposed to do. And we can continue counting, you know. This is just March. And we have so much months to go, people. So much years to go. What me say, our responsibility, we keep on ignoring it as we proceed.
Edisto. Howard was known as the Christian general, a deeply religious man who hated slavery. He was in charge of the new Freedmen's Bureau, established by Congress that year to protect the confiscated lands given to the former slaves. Howard was revered second only to Lincoln by free blacks.
They got the message from the Freedmen's Bureau that the general was coming back, General Oliver O. Howard, who they were expecting to hear nothing but good news from him because he was the man who had told them about how this land now was transferred to them and that they owned it and they didn't have to worry about massa no more and everything. He asked them to gather together at the church on Edisto. So over 2,000 people came from all amongst the oak trees and all back off in the woods and from their shacks and their dirt roads to meet there at the church to hear this new discussion about their land.
I have been sent by the president to tell you that your old masters have been pardoned and their plantations are to be given back to them, and that they would hire blacks to work for them. Lay aside your bitter feelings and be reconciled to them. General Oliver O. Howard.
Lay aside your bitter feelings. A man come tell us, say, yo, watch out. A back and forth thing, you know. It's back and forth tennis. I'm telling you, say this tennis game thing, and we at the ball. I've been playing it for like 8 years now. I'm telling you, this tennis ball, and we had the ball with the WSIB when we get injured people. Back and forth, paperwork. I'm telling you, there's a book on that, you know. Just for show you, say them nah help you. So them take the land, right? Then take the people them, enslave them dead off, give them back the land. Then them say no, we're gonna take back the land again, we're gonna put them back in the position where them in before. And all of these times, it's times when the government is supposed to be looking out for the people, but the government don't say it already. It's a white country, people. As we proceed.
So people were enraged and people started howling out, no, ain't no way. No, that ain't what you tell us before. No, sir.
General Howard, why do you take away our land?
Yeah, but again, keep on saying them things, I know, people. Anything that these people do, there's no consequences. There's nobody gonna change it. Who's fighting Donald Trump right now? Other than a couple people are push some paper but at the end of the day, anybody can stop him. Anybody can stop him from what him do, when him want do what him do. As we proceed, people, because them can give and then take back and then take back and then do all of them things here. And all we have to say is yes, let's pray. But I'm telling you, say all of these praying has never changed anything. They never change them people your heart. When Ivy a pray before them catch him on fire, none of them people there, one little woman come with a bucket of water try dash on it. But me say, It never end. Two brothers and two sisters, them say it. Pull yourself up by your boat string. And when she pull up herself, then push her back over the bridge again. When she take up her, then push her over, and that them a laugh about. That's what they were laughing about. Them did I enjoy just the foxes should have tried so hard with her pregnant belly. Things that them people you care about we. And the few people them did that fight for help we. Now we never fight, so why should anybody help we? That me noticing now, we never fight for nothing. Black History Month just pass through and just, who cares? I'm telling you, say we should care because there's so much greatness before us. We don't honor nobody. Oh yeah, of course we honor some people. Messi got Jamaica and the people them, all them disgusting. As we proceed.
You take them from us who are true, always true to the government. You give them to our all-time enemies. The man who gave me 39 lashes and who stripped and flogged my mother and sister. Who keeps land from me well knowing I would not have anything to do with him if I had land of my own. That man I can...
And at that, I'm sure I show you. Why would we have to deal with any other culture if we have our own stuff? Other than the other people, some were curious enough for. And how much percentage of us would be curious enough? Enough people married in our own culture for things of the culture, just because they're married into the culture will save them. But them even get hated more. Yeah, people. If we have our own thing, why would we need anything else other than curiosity? And what you're curious about when we've been all over the world and we create the first everything? That's the truth, people. But I'm telling you, say, the truth is not accepted because it's lie, 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 lie. So let's lie about everything and we just readily accept that. As we proceed.
Well forgive. A freedman.
Some went into nobody know the trouble we see. And some went into motherless child, and all those things rippled off the sea. Like a mother waiting.
These amendments, guaranteeing blacks the right to vote and due process of law. The time of Reconstruction had begun, but many whites did not plan on fulfilling the intentions of the new laws. Mississippi passed a black code, giving courts the right to apprentice former slaves, with preference to their former owners.
The Negro is free whether we like it or not. For the purity and progress of both races, they must accept their place in the lower order of things. That place is the cotton fields of the South. Such is the rule of the plantation and the law of God. Governor.
Okay, and then people use God for keep we in a slavery. And the law of God. Which God? Which God? For real, which God? The same God who are going to save we? I'm just curious, you know. Because I'm telling you, some people is so hell-bent of convincing you of their belief. And all you have to do is ask questions. And if they can't answer the questions, well, I'd rather stay straight. As we proceed,
Benjamin Humphreys. But blacks did not see themselves trapped in the cotton fields. They used their vote to elect black representatives, sat on juries, and sent their children to school.
What had alarmed the white South during Reconstruction was not evidence of black failure, but evidence of black success.
And that are the thing, people. You don't understand the key to we can't fail. We cannot fail. We cannot fail. We're in the worst time, we make the best of it. Then give it the worst food and we make it delicious. Everything about us, there's no curse about me. I said that already, you know. We are not cursed people, but we are cursed every day. We curse each other every day. I wonder if we really understand what's going on in our existence, you know, because this is not existence, this is just a loop. The way we exist is not real because we don't have nothing. And it's just an illusion. 1 and 2 people are going to have something and it seems like say it's attainable, but it's not. Because many times a backdoor deal and them have to pick this person who them choose for highlight entertainers. So I said, this is for my future too, you know. Because when I forward, it's going to be a way I need to be. I truly don't understand certain things yet, you know. But I said, this is not just for Uno. This is so important to me. These things has to be in my DNA. Has to clear up certain spaces in my existence, in my aura. As we proceed.
Evidence of black assertion, evidence of black independence, evidence of black advancement, and evidence that black men were learning the uses of political power.
If intimidation would not keep blacks in their place, then violence might. In the same year that Reconstruction began, Nathan Bedford Forrest, a Confederate general, founded the Ku Klux Klan. The image of the Klan in white hoods killing blacks by the light of burning crosses would forever be etched in the American mind.
The way white supremacists made sure that ex-slaves would fall back into place or nearly back into place was terror. Beating people.
And remember, these people are non-violent people, right? These people are non-violent people. Evil people are non-violent people. Let's put that out there, okay? Evil people are non-violent people. Evil people do not do evil things, okay? It's only good people who does evil things. I don't know how that works. Because these people are evil. These people are evil. These people are not humans. And that's why I say evil come in a form, not in a color. Because them same things that happen to us right now, and none of them are do it. We're doing this to ourselves now. So evil come in our form, not in our color. So there's good people, because Matilda said there's people who helped us right through and still does, but why should they help us now when we're not help ourselves? What's the use? Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. As we proceed, people, past, present, and future.
Burning down their houses, shooting them, just the usual physical mayhem of personal violence.
Although they were beaten into submission and retreat, 1869 offered a glimmer of hope with the election of Civil War hero Ulysses S. Grant to the presidency, and Grant delivered. He sent federal troops to the South to counter groups like the Klan. But for the black community, even federal intervention was not enough.
The question,
And again, you see, and same thing, me say. So you say, okay, S Grant then, usually S Grant, right? Again, this Howard Olivier the next one where him was supposed to be the saving. I'm telling you them things that people may find out them things, put them in a quotation. I him say him did that come to save them, but him are the one that tell them say no, we have to go give back the land. Now usually S Grant are the one that come say, alright, slow down upon this here or cut this out. But again, evil people, you think say just because they get catch them are gonna stop? They can apologize on TV and then you see the video later. Like evil people just are gonna stop the evil, so no. Because that's who they are. Pick me touch and I go stop because they get catch, because that's who they are. As we proceed, people.
of should we stay at home in the South? Should we stay at home in the United States? Should we move somewhere else to the North? Should we move to the West? Or should we leave the United States entirely?
Feeling trapped and helpless and in need of answers, some turned to an unlikely source, an old man who had been born in slavery.
We needed land for our children. That caused my heart to grieve in sorrow. Pity for my race caused me to work for them. Confidence has perished and faded away. We are going to leave the South. Pap Singleton.
In 1874, Pap Singleton, a former slave, would lead a group of 300 blacks to Kansas. John Brown struck his first blow against slavery there. God must be in Kansas, and black people wanted to go where God was. No one spoke this call stronger than Sojourner Truth.
I have prayed so long that my people would go to Kansas, and that God would make straight the way before them. This colored people is going to be a people. Do you think God has them robbed and scourged all the days of their life for nothing?
Many of the people saw their promised land. They saw their Jordan River being those places that they had to cross over into, where freedom would be away from those who had basically had their feet on their necks all this time, just like the Pharaoh had done in the Bible.
But so the feet on the neck thing, you know, it's actually a symbol, you know. It said I'm ready to take out that brother out of jail with box up George Floyd. And from before missing got jail and not do him. Oh boy. I say him well protected when him got jail. I say him I get like 3 meals a day, conjugal visit every day. Because you know how much video they make of that the incident there. People just have videotape a rewind and just have videotape play it over and over and over and over. The people them say that when after them cut down the kids, them put them in the back of the van and them drive around the town to show off them trophy. The 2 little youth them do that. The two brothers and the 2 sisters, they do the same thing to them. As we proceed, people.
So many of them followed their leaders so that they could have their life to themselves, however they wanted that to be built.
They also believed in the God of Daniel, who was an avenging God. This is the God of the apocalypse, the God of the second coming, the God of the decision of who was going to go to heaven and who was going to go to hell.
Okay, God of Daniel. Is that a different, like, I'm not much I show you because until I said there's so much God. No, it's really, people. God of Daniel. Is that a different God from? Is that this a different God? God of vengeance? Like, I'm saying and talk about God. There is different gods. God of evil, God of destruction, God of mayhem. What to them God there? Huh? You see, this lifetime is so confusing because I'm telling you, say, when you're born into sin and then keep on cursing you every day, oh, can you find yourself, people? How can you find yourself? Because once you find yourself guilty, it's a burden. I talk about these things. So you have burden, you have sin, you have guilt, you have all kind of things. We curse yourself every day. It's a nightmare. Where can I go to have peace of mind? Where I do not exist in this mess. Is there a place? Or a place like that doesn't exist? It only exists within a skin. That's not yours. Is that a possibility? Or a mentality? Could it be a reality? I don't know, people. I'm saying, I'm going through these stuff, right? It's tearing down the layers of deceit and misunderstanding of myself. Because I'm telling you, it's not I've been confused because I have asked a lot of questions, just never get a lot of answer. Or the answer them when I get people don't know either. People. That's why I say the only thing that I always have to hold on to is this peace within myself that's free. That January, that purity. Because everything else outside of that is chaotic. That's why one time I come over here so upon my channel, it's reasoning, the school is open. Classes is empty or full. It depends on us. If it means something to us, like-minded people, to create something better for the next generation of people. If the blueprint was created before us, all we have to do is just follow the pattern, right? Bang! Because it's being erased on a daily basis. The footprint of our existence. And that's what I realize if we not keep on highlighting the great people them and talk about us more as we proceed.
But as much as Kansas loomed as a promised land for many blacks, getting there could become a journey through hell. Many would perish from starvation and exposure. One group fell victim to yellow fever, and there was always the fear of murderous whites.
I saw colored men and women cast themselves to the ground in despair. Heard them groan and shout their lamentations. What is to become of these wretched people, God only knows. Here were nearly 500,000, scattered along the banks of the mighty Mississippi, without shelter, without food, with no hope of escaping from their present surrounding, and hardly a chance of returning from whence they came. Riverboat Captain.
For those who survived to make it to Kansas, they found a land of hard winters, torrential rains, and violent tornadoes. But through spiritual and emotional conviction, they sustained themselves. And within a few years, over
Spiritual people, spiritual conviction. As we proceed, people, look, everybody has their own opinion and their own thoughts and how they feel about anything. You don't have to agree with everything a person says. You just have to understand. And most of the time, we don't understand nothing. Because we spend most of the time on argue and I discredit each other. We're great. I keep on saying it. We're great. We just have to live up to our greatness. We just have to encourage each other. That's why I thank Miss White and I thank Miss Black. Because then come on and them always drop them comment. And then always encourage. And they not take much for you to like and share. Because them things they're free. But you see the resentment what some people have within themselves, them can't get over that. That are the biggest mountain pride. Pride. If you know say it can't work. But just because I don't want to create it or I don't want it to work. That's us. That's one of the things that stop us from being great. We accept limitation. And then we teach what we accept. Boy, I saw it set. Well, it said so. Who said it so? So I said questions, ask them. Because they're important to ask. We just say we being spiritual beings. And that we're supposed to try to attain. That's why I say, you see, all of the things them that's highlighted now in our face for 2 seconds, TikTok and them things there. The craving we have for our next highlight with no meaning. That's why I say these movies when I watch and I read about them have so much intrigue, ups and downs, twist and turn. And we're part of that. And we are deny it. I keep on saying it. And we are deny our part. I say from them, I go up on the panel, and the man said, I'm going to tell him all of the great people that I'm going to highlight. And they say, yeah, but those are in the past. It hurt me so much, people. I said, yo, look, it just hurt me so much. I don't know why it hurt me so much, Not because, I don't know, credit me I look for do what me I do, but just the fact, somebody, one of us can just come out and say that, like, say, it has no meaning. When it's supposed to have a meaning to us. Much, much love. It's supposed to have a meaning to us, You see the people that it doesn't have a meaning to, it's fine. But when we make it doesn't have a meaning to us, that's how it hurt. Because them people there, when I say them people that change it not just for the black race, but internationally for everybody. Because you see, in them days, see no Chinese people or no Italian people or no other race in these war. And that's what it was. This was war for freedom of the mind. It's just black against evil. Because I say, you cannot give credit to something that's not credible. These people are not credible people. They're evil people. So we're not gonna call them. What are you guys gonna call them? Their title is evil. So anytime you see anybody that do something, you say it, evil people. Why do you guys have to say, oh, I tell you from January when the man thief the woman planting. One thing some forget them things are people. The woman plant her planting when she asks people for help her. She says she willing to pay them to help her dig her ground and plant her roots. And the man then January after them have them Christmas nyama drink and them have them New Year's party, big drinking and eating again. And then January come around where she work for monsters. What chop it down? I'm not calling people them are no man. So some things we need to call them for what they are though. Evil people. If you do evil, you're an evil person. Because evil doesn't have a color. Just have a form. These things we need to just have in our mind. As we proceed.
Towns would be built. But not all blacks thought the answer was to leave the South. Frederick Douglass, a former slave who had become the leading black voice for abolition, opposed any mass exodus.
The country will be told of the hundreds who go to Kansas, but not of the thousands who stay in Mississippi. They will be told of the destitute who require material aid, but not of the multitude who are bravely sustaining themselves where they are. If the people of this country cannot be protected in every state of the Union, the sovereignty of the nation is an empty one, and the power in individual states is greater than the power of the United States.
And that's the thing with the KKK. Them power bigger than the United States government. The United States government have army, navy, marine, them have everything. And them people are more powerful than the people them with all of them things there. Because they make them that powerful. I Google the Black Panther, when they say about the Black Panther, or the Black Panther said them to kill police, so this is why they have to eradicate the Black Panther. But they never said the KKK, them a kill half black people. And them need to be eradicated. No. And the KKK still exists. As we proceed.
Frederick Douglass.
In 1877, Republican President Rutherford B. Hayes, who had won the election by making a deal for electoral votes from Southern Democrats, pulled federal troops from the South. The party of Lincoln had betrayed the former slaves.
Okay, and that, you see, betray, lie, betray. Anything like what else is new? What else is new? The same thing with the hospital, them voting the man say, man, go keep the hospital open. When do close down the hospital? The man shut down the hospital. Right through history, betray, sell out. No equal rights, no justice. As we proceed.
Was over. Whites began to reassert their power over blacks, politically, legally, and economically. And nowhere was this change more crushing than for those blacks who were farmers, most of whom were sharecroppers.
Owners controlled their little worlds. So there was no police power, there was no federal power, there was no state power that actually made a difference on the ground. So you had relations of dependency built around obedience and submission. That was the ideology of the culture.
And this is why I'm not like the word submission. Right? This is why I'm saying you can use anything else except submission. A woman not supposed to submit to her husband. Me not like that term there, because this is what it actually means from back then. Just saying, people, as we proceed.
Slavery, obedience, and submission.
Here was the black man, having very limited education, not knowing how to figure and to read, with the books being kept by the white man who is giving him his supplies to start a crop, and likewise owned the land. when the black man ended up at the end of the year and brought his crop in, the white man immediately arranged to outfigure him.
Outcon him, people. Outcon him. Trick him out time stuff. At the same time, tell us that with Burkina Faso, them do that with all the minerals. Gold and everything else. Take it out, everything. Refine it, come back and sell it so they can't afford it. As we proceed.
You get cotton, and then the man at the store you had credit, he run the books up on you, so you didn't have nothing. You work a whole year and hand pick 40 bales of cotton and come out with nothing.
Frustrated by the unfulfilled promise of emancipation, blacks turned to the next generation, to their children. They believed education would be the key to overcome white dominance. One man would come to symbolize this hope, Booker T. Washington. Born into slavery, Washington had managed to learn to read and write, and at 9 he worked in a salt mine. But within 25 years, Washington had been a student and a teacher at the Hampton Institute and was invited to be principal of a new school in Alabama. That school was Tuskegee.
Okay, people, and you see, oh, everything is connected, though, right? So Booker T. Washington was the first set of educated, pretty much, blacks, and what I'm doing in education. And that might try to show you any opportunity where we get, we run with it, you know, we make it great, you know, as we proceed.
Arriving in a community of farms and sharecroppers, where attending school was rare, if at all, Washington faced a great challenge: to build a school, attract students, recruit teachers. On July 4th, 1881, in the Zion Hill Baptist Church, the Tuskegee Institute was born. Washington and his 30 recruits believed the only way to one day have their own buildings.
July 4th, him say?
Baptist Church, to build a school, attract students, recruit teachers. On July 4th, 1881, in the Zion Hill Baptist Church.
July 4th, and that me tell you, said, that is something we can celebrate on July 4th, you know. How them celebrate on July 4th? I never know them have some July 4th celebration, but me sure say this is not what them celebrated. I say we can create for one calendar for the days that are important to we. And that we're supposed to do. Have one calendar where we go by. At least, you know, your birthday is gonna be there. Your family birthdays, them are go there. Anniversaries, them things there. So you can make your own calendar. So when you say celebrate, you know, celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and them things there. Because when you look on Christmas, the day before Christmas, what them do to the two youth them. Huh? And the two girls. And then go celebrate Christmas the next day. Eh? So them things are nice. As we proceed.
The Tuskegee Institute was born. Washington and his 30 recruits believed the only way to one day have their own buildings would be to build them themselves.
The reason that it started as an industrial school was because they had nothing, and so they had to build, grow, and make everything, like harness making.
And it could have been called a resourceful school. Right? Because, again, them people, you see, where was E.D. Du Bois when this started? Right? Which part when named E.D. Du Bois? When this man started this? But later on, he might come and challenge the man. Why am I telling the people? What me say? E.D. Du Bois didn't come on his own free will. He was paid. We fling a monkey wrench in the program as we proceed.
Because they needed to have harnesses for the farm animals. carpentry because they needed to build the buildings, brick masonry because they needed to make the bricks. These kinds of trades, printing, shoemaking, tailoring, carpentry, all of these things were things that they could use to build a business.
One student who found opportunity at Tuskegee was a young man named William Holtzclaw. His parents, especially his mother, Addie, were passionate about getting an education for their children. They even built their own school.
I remember my parents went into the forest and cut pine poles 8 inches in diameter, split them in half, carried them on their shoulders to a nice shady spot, and built a schoolhouse. There were no floors, no...
You see? Even back then, people, we could have built our own school. Nowadays, oh, like the man that take us build one hospital, I must refurbish. Oh, was it 5 years ago refurbish that the hospital, the people, eh? That me I try to show you. Isn't it a comedy? It's a comedy show with them people there. They're just entertainers. You don't have to take them as entertainer. They might get paid well to be entertainers, but them not get paid well for look out for humanity. The people that can't build road, can't build school, can't build hospital, can't build nothing. Meanwhile, back in the days, how can these people be so limited? Or them don't care? 300% raise the people give themselves, and the people them still not do nothing. So if them get 900%, 100,000% raise, you think that it would really make a difference? As we proceed, people.
And the benches were made of the same material.
Addie Holtzclaw would provide schemes that allowed William and his brother to get an education for most of the year.
The landlord wanted us to pick cotton, but mother wanted me to remain in school. So she used to outgeneral him by hiding me behind skillets, ovens, and pots. Then she would slip me to school the back way, pushing me through the woods and underbrush until it was safe for me to travel alone.
Whenever
And again, people, you see how important education was even back then. Look how and then people are embrace fully dance. Eh? Imagine. It's sad, people. It's really, really sad. Harriet Tubman said she could have freed a lot more slaves if they never said it was a slave. I'm telling you, people. Like-minded people can change it. Not the people them who accept it for what it is. And the stone-minded people. We're going to call them stone-minded people. As we proceed.
someone had wanted to go to school, they would make sure that one of them went and that one stayed at home. Because if they didn't, if both of them were gone, the overseer would come around and would say, "Where are those boys?" And he would get upset. So in order to make sure that that didn't happen, she'd send one to school and leave one at home to do the work. So when the overseer came around and needed someone, she would call them and they would be there.
All right, and you see the same thing with a compound. When they talk about their compound, so then we'll have an overseer. Then say they always have an overseer at their compound, right? So at the same thing, when we say people, it doesn't change. As we proceed, but I'm telling you, say we did smart. We did actually was genius then. Nowadays, people have to tell people say they're smart. Imagine that without proving it. Oh, people, I'm just loving this. It's so crazy, people. Eh? Nowadays, people have to tell you say they're smart. Them not prove nothing, say they're smart, you know. As I tell you, say they're smart. As we proceed.
But the limited education was never going to propel the Holtzclaw children beyond the bondage of sharecropping, where if the landowner didn't cheat you, the weather might. William Holtzclaw heard about Tuskegee. He wrote Booker T. Washington a letter.
Dear Book, I want to go to Tuskegee to get an education. Can I come?
The letter found its way. Come, Washington replied.
When I walked out on campus, I was startled at what I saw. There before my eyes was a huge pair of mules drawing a machine plow, which to me at the time was a mystery. There were girls cultivating flowers and boys erecting huge brick buildings. Some were hitching horses and driving carriages, while others were milking cows and making cheese. I found some boys studying drawings and others hammering irons, each with an intense earnestness that I had never seen in young men.
When he first...
Okay, and this is one I'm look on, right? You see, like, even then we had like apprenticeship, right? They don't have no apprenticeship program, even free apprenticeship program. Because, hard for you teach 500 people something, all you have to do is have one person stand up and show them. So this is what I'm gonna say, even the apprenticeship program, the cadet, the scout, all of them things, those things to put the youth them in some sense of responsibility, it's just, there's no set up for us to, there's nothing there. There's no organization, there's nothing that says we're gonna take these kids and mold them in the right direction. The elders are all gone. Well, it's now me see how the state is. It can't be fixed on one side, It's an overall work of making people understand, first of all, why it's so important. I tell you, so from I started the thing and see how things was, right? And this is why I say, when Booker T. Washington was a genius, when he come up with these ideas, everybody I learn a skill, and I take pride in what them do. Once me see I do good in these environment, obviously me I go want to do good too. Unity, unity is really strength, even in a way them do, even though it's wrong, them still have unity in the evil, I know, it's sad. It's weird, isn't it? You can't find a whole bunch of evil people get together to do evil, and you can't find a whole bunch of good people getting together to do good. As we proceed.
Got to Tuskegee, he was really amazed that there were so many things he didn't know. He was also amazed as to how they organized the students in the dormitory setting, particularly himself, because he had never slept between two sheets. And when he went to the dorm, he was sleeping, as they say, ready roll. He had all of his clothes on, and someone had to come in and tell him that you have such a thing as a nightshirt and a shirt that...
Yo, what we say, it's funny when you don't know no better, right? It's funny, people, just to see the man just roll up in a bed in our outdoor clothes, right? That's funny, but we say if you don't know no better until you get taught. That's why I say each one teach one how to be better. Each one teach one how to be better as we proceed.
Wear during the day.
My plan was for them to see not only the utility of labor, but its beauty and dignity. They will be taught how to lift labor up from drudgery and toil, and they will learn to love work for its own sake. We wanted them to return to the plantation districts, and show people there how to put new energy and new ideas into farming as well.
And that are the thing. You see? Each one teach one how to be. I don't know, people. All of them things tell us, and most of the things when we learn from the 12 colors, it's pretty much how we've been living, right? But we just kind of move away from the things that will help us because this is how we used to be. We used to teach each other. But now it's like I'm better than you and me not teach you nothing. And if me teach you, you're gonna make millions. And I don't know, man. My friend Debbie Jervis, she said how much people said I'm gonna help her with her YouTube channel. Yes, it's funny because how much people said them are gonna help me too. How much people said them are gonna help? Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna help. We're gonna help. I know the help not come. So the big difference, people, we know. As we proceed.
The intellectual and moral and religious life of the people. Booker T. Washington. Washington's vision would bear fruit. In less than a decade, Tuskegee had over 1,000 acres of land, 14 buildings, a farm, and a dozen shops, from a laundry to a blacksmith, with an enrollment of 400 students and 28 teachers. Washington wanted his students at Tuskegee to learn to work and work hard, no matter how menial the task. He also wanted to keep Southern whites from feeling threatened.
That's why they thought Booker T. Washington was the great godsend, that somehow he'd come forward with an educational philosophy which said in effect that you can educate a people and still keep them subordinate. And he once gave a talk in a speech, and I think it's the most concrete example, where he was given a talk. And actually, he was asked this question by a white farmer. He says, why should I send Mandy to Tuskegee to learn how to cook when she can spit in a skillet and know whether it's hot? And Washington's response was, the purpose of industrial education is to teach her not to spit in the skillet, not to teach her to be something other than a cook, but to be a better cook, to be a better sharecropper, to be a better mine worker. And so whites really, thought this is a godsend. We now come up with a philosophy of education that can keep people in their place and even teach them to be better within their place. And they thought that that was possible. They learned very quickly that that was not possible.
At the Haynes School in Augusta, Georgia.
This is why we said they're spitting a police food. So you see, spitting a food that come from way back when people. Oh boy. Okay. Why should I send her to the school to learn how to cook when she can spit in the pot and tell when it's hot? Ah, boy. As we proceed, and as you can see, that sounds so. That sounds like it's coming from an educated person. Oh boy. As we proceed, people.
Its founder, Lucy Laney, would expand Washington's philosophy of teaching and take it in a different direction. She insisted upon developing her children's full potential. Her students studied English, mathematics, history, chemistry, physics, psychology, sociology, French, and German. What we need to develop, Laney said, is minds, not hands. Race leaders, not followers. Laney was especially interested in training young black women to be teachers.
The educated Negro woman is needed in the schoolroom, not only in the kindergarten and primary school, but in the high school and the college. She may give advice and knowledge that will change a whole community and start its people on the upward way.
African American women were playing a much more critical role than what was common in American education generally. They were critical as educational leaders. But even within the trenches in local communities, in terms of fundraising and teaching and support groups, that you cannot really understand the development of African American education without really appreciating the leadership of African American women.
Teaching was a very important profession for Black women in this period of time. It was not just a profession, but it was a mission to uplift African Americans, to teach people to read, to also teach them the ways of this world as free people.
But Black teachers had to show real ingenuity. Black schools were often barren affairs with few books, maps, pencils, or pens.
We had students draw the national flag on the blackboard. These flags were assigned a place of honor on the board and became a permanent picture in the room for years. Pupils were careful not to erase the flag when they erased the blackboard.
The positive image of Laney and others was hopeful, but the reality for most Blacks was hard, back-breaking work and servitude.
I've been a factory hand, janitor, porter, and butler, and wiping engines on the railroad. I worked as a helper for a carpenter, laying bricks for masons. I've been a driver of teams, a pick and shovel man, and drove steel for a section boss. I was a hand on the Mississippi and working in a steel foundry, and seemed like I did 100 more jobs.
My grandma would work in the tub washing the clothes of the prominent white people of our city. And for all of that washing, for the whole white family, washing and then ironing, she got $1.50 for the whole family laundry at the end of it. So there were several families that she had, but it was just $1.50 for all of that work.
White folks didn't have no feeling for you. They pretended they did. They had nannies to give their child comfort. That was my name, Nanny.
That much, they hire people to give them kids comfort and love people. So me tell them. Well, me say, first of all, if you hate somebody, you have to hate yourself. You don't understand this? So I say we need to take out blasphemy, the word hate out of the vocabulary. Because for you to hate a next person, you have to hate yourself. I know that from a little bit. Me don't know how some people don't understand that now. You cannot hate a person. You might dislike their ways or not agree with them. But is that reason for you to hate them? And then look on a person's skin and say, me hate them because of them skin. It don't make no sense at all. This is what I say, for us to think and understand certain things, we have to have mind fluidity. We have to have the mindset erase. Because thought comes and thought goes. So the name supposed to be Nani. Nani. The name supposed to be no, obviously not. Because when they say Nani, me look upon it as a goat, right? A nanny goat. But that's what them call them. Nurtures. Nurtures.
They would teach their children they were better than you. You was giving them all that love, and you'd hear them say, you're not supposed to love Nanny. Nanny's a nigger. And they would say it so nasty till it would cut your heart out almost. You couldn't say a mumbling word.
And that me I tell you, that's what I'm trying to show you. Even though you give them kids love, them give them kids hate too. Oh, that possible. So you know, see them little pitney, these little kids are gonna confuse. They're gonna be confused. But mama, love. Yes. Niggas. That's what I say when we call ourselves damn worthy. how is it any better if we call it niggers or anything like what? Okay, how are them things I don't understand, you know. So this is when I say sometimes the condition is so deep we don't even realize we are disrespect each other and don't even realize. The things what we do sometimes we don't realize these stuff. Because over the generation and generation we accept it and don't realize that if we reject it, it come a point where we have to reject certain things, you know. And that may I try to show you why can't these people love their kids themselves? Why can't them love their kids themselves? That I just may have to wonder now. How come they can't love them people like oh okay, these nanny love them own kids? That's something crazy, you know. It's not a mental issue too. So I'm tell you say right through society we just a mental issue people. But the thing with it is them can't afford to go psychologists and them stuff there, right? We just get frustrated and take it out on each other. And it's not gonna away. Doesn't change. It not change. As we proceed.
A woman knows how to shift a smile when the burden is so heavy. Know how to smile when she want to cry. Smile when sorrow done touch her so deeply. So that's why I feel black women in the field had to pray and had to moan and had to cry. Them prayers went a long way and protected a lot of people. And God wiped away those tears.
I don't know about that, people, honestly. I honestly don't know about that. I don't know. Them part, them me just, me don't understand that. Pray if you come out of slavery, not pray if it wipe your tears. Pray for the. As we proceed, and again, if that's not belief that I go save, you know, that's you guys believe.
And the next morning, we had the strength to go on. Dorothy Bolden.
But despite all the obstacles, blacks began to rise. More blacks were being educated. There was now a growing black middle class. And the children of the former slaves were not too quick to bow down to the white man as their parents had.
Whites perceived a new generation of black Southerners, the sons and the daughters and the grandsons and granddaughters of the former slaves, who had not been disciplined by slavery, who had never known slavery, who were perceived as much more restless and obviously much more threatening because, unlike some of their parents and grandparents, they seemed less afraid of whites.
We are not the Negro from whom the chains of slavery fell a quarter of a century ago. Most assuredly not. We are now qualified as being the equal of whites and should be treated as such.
Every time we see a Negro physician, it does us good. When we see a Negro pharmacist, it goes still better. When we see the lawyers, professors, bank presidents, inventors, machinists, mechanics, we grin as much.
Yes, I'm gonna talk about that. I spoke about that. When I got Jamaica, I see all, you know, all of the position them. Black people in all of them position there, where you don't see a foreign black people in, right? Are rare. You feel good. You feel proud, just like how I feel about them people in our past. These people have such a high standard. Now we never have a standard. Unfortunately. It's true.
Mouth will allow and shout, "The Negro is coming." Editor, Richmond Planet.
Many whites feared since the end of slavery that blacks would come to feel they were equal to whites. Now that fear seemed realized.
The colored race is getting more unreliable. Freedom has ruined them in every way. Only the old-timey darkies can be trusted. The young ones are sullen and grow more insolent every day.
They don't sing as they used to. You should have known the old days of the plantation. Every year it seems they're losing more and more of their own confessed good humor. I sometimes feel I don't know them anymore. They've grown so glum and serious, so I'm free to say I'm scared of them.
Oh boy, people, me tell you say, yo, understanding, you know. Cause me tell you say, oh, them treat we, if them they treat we good, right? Some, the humans treat the humans like humans. The devil, the evil people. So there's a difference. Some, not all. So the one them we did good, we thank them. The one them do bad, we curse them. Karma go take them. That's what them deserve. Part of the problem is we love our enemy. And then teach yourself to keep our enemy close. All of them things here, no people, it's just so confusing. What are you gonna learn from your enemy when you feed your enemy and then call your enemy friend? I don't know, people. Lots of confusion.
Nowhere was this fear more pronounced than in Memphis, Tennessee, where in the 1880s, 40% of the population was black. Faced with this growing black presence, whites demanded that the informal practices, which had segregated the races since 1865, become legalized and strictly enforced.
The laws were intended to accomplish what it was clear the conventions were not going to accomplish, which was, again, to make African Americans act inferior. Again, if white people couldn't make African Americans be inferior, they couldn't prevent some of them from attaining a kind of middle class status despite the violence and despite the discrimination, then they could make them act inferior.
These forced acts of humiliation began to manifest themselves on the Southern Railroad lines. Special Jim Crow cars were set aside on trains for black men and women, and for those white men who wanted to smoke and drink. In 1884, Ida B. Wells.
So when they up on the rich part of the chain, they can't smoke and drink. Only the poor part of the chain, they can smoke and drink. As we proceed, people. So, so when they can smoke, they're smoking. But I'm tell you something. Them used to smoke on the plane them too, you know. Even on the plane them used to smoke. Smoking was you could have smoking it. So when they go, then just put on the two cat and send the people them in there, so the one them want to smoke and drink. People, me say, as we proceed, people.
A young teacher from Memphis was quietly reading in a first-class car when the conductor ordered her to move to the Jim Crow car.
I refused, saying the forward car was a smoker and I was in the ladies' car. I proposed to stay. He tried to drag me out of my seat, but the moment he caught hold of my arm, I fastened my teeth on the back of his hand. Ida B. Wells.
They are able to get her out of the seat, but she refuses to go into that combination car. And she gets off the train, walks back to town with her dress torn, with her hat now askew. She will sue the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway. She takes this mighty corporation to court, and she does prevail in the end, because the judge does say that indeed she was a lady. She's a school teacher. She was dressed the way she was supposed to dress. She acted accordingly.
But yeah, and I was looking at the story about her, right? She had the first black lady with it and got caught and win. I'm telling up to people the history is so past, present, and future. It is. It's either you be participant or you can be included in it. You could be part of the story, or you could just watch the story fulfill. And you can say, if I did, but we can. That's the thing, we can. You think so you don't know how to do it? Write a poem, write something. What me say? We might think say it can't be done, but it can be done, because these people prove that it can be done. That's why I love them people so much. I love greatness. I admire greatness. I love smart people. Smart people are cool. I'm not talk people who are smart enough to be an ass. Right? Smart people are really cool because them have unlimited ability where them just practice. And this is why these stories so important for us to share. Open up a book and see the amazement. Because I'm ready for right now, enough people. Okay, now again, you know what? Go. You don't get support. So if I write the book, how much book you think I'm gonna sell? When I write the book, I mean, did I say if? When I write the book, people. When I write the book, people. As we proceed. When we write the book. When I go buy the book? Buy a
Victory was
sauce.
short-lived. The verdict was overturned by Tennessee Appeals Court.
So you see the woman win and then take with the woman winning, people. I don't me tell you. Then give it and then take it. Then give it and then take it. Then give it and then take it. As we proceed.
Believed all along that the law was on our side and would give us justice. I feel shorn of that belief and utterly discouraged. If it were possible, I would gather the race in my arms and fly away with them. God, is there no redress, no peace, nor justice for us? Teach us what to do, for I am sorely, bitterly disgusted.
She said, I wanted so badly to do something great for my people, and I thought I had. But now with this, I feel that the justice is no longer on our side.
Inspired by her personal confrontation with Jim Crow, Wells decided to fight for the rights of all Black people. She taught school by day, and at night wrote newspaper articles under the pen name Iola. In the late 1880s, when the Tennessee legislature moved to take the vote away from Blacks, Wells attacked.
The dailies of our city say that whites must rule this country, but this is an expression without a thought. The old Southern voice that made the Negroes jump and run to their holes like rats is told to shut up, for the Negro of today is not the same as Negroes were 30 years ago.
Sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
People, I'm probably gonna get copy strike for all this song, because I tell you, every time I play these songs, them always strike my channel. Even though I'm not get no money for it yet.
But a Black man or woman standing up for equal justice in 1892 was taking a serious risk. On the night of March 9th, when Wells was out of town, her friend Tom Moss and two others were jailed for defending themselves against several white men who had attacked Moss's grocery store. Mass vigilantes dragged Moss and his two friends from their cells to a deserted railroad yard. Before he died, Moss cried out, "Tell my people to flee. There is no justice here." This lynching, a term that came to be applied to any mob killing of Blacks, disheartened Wells.
When she had come back to Memphis, she saw that the community was absolutely devastated, and so was she. No one knew quite what to do. But when she read those words, she said, this is going to be her mission as well. And she begins to tell Black Memphians, there is no justice for you here. The system is not working for us. No one is trying to get these killers of our young men. And it is one we should go.
And go they did. At least 6,000 Black Memphis residents would heed Wells's call to leave. It was the beginning of an exodus that in the coming decades would number in the millions. The murder of her friend also opened her eyes to who the true targets of the lynch mob were.
When her three friends were lynched, she began to realize that even Black people, middle-class Black people, could be victims of that. And she talks about how until that happened, she had believed that those excesses, what she called excesses against the race, were only directed against those people who had perhaps done something to deserve it.
This opened my eyes to what lynching.
You see? Nah, man. It's not just for the one of them thing guilty. It's for all of us. It's for all of us. It said two twin brother. I talked about it already. They miss them flight and they end up in a place where they never know. Them get boxed up. This is recently, today's time, people, 2025, it happened. Evil people, evil. That's what I'm gonna say. You see? This is what people stop fighting for, humanity. People, what me say? Money. Money. And people can't fight for money. And people can't fight for sex, drugs. Throw humanity by the wayside. But me say, we have to fight for humanity, you know, because we are the humans. Nobody now come save we. Nobody never did. 1 and 2 people fight with us and fight for us. You understand them things, that people? 1 and 2 people fight with us and for us. But if we don't fight for ourselves, nobody nah fight for we. Nobody's gonna fight for us. Nobody's gonna say we need to save the Black race. How we can't understand that? How is it so hard for us to understand? Nobody now fight for we. Nobody not care about. If we not care about ourselves, that are the thing, you know. There's many people in position, right? We have the human mind, the human heart, humanity, right? Them know say all of these things is wrong. But if we not get up and fight for it, why should they get ostracized for us? Why should they go against something that's been around for so long? These people used to fight for it. These people used to fight for human rights, fight for humanity. But all of them people, most of them pass off. It's only 1 and 2 people you see. But them people, they not get no support. The people who are fighting for equal rights and justice today. You see, Jabem, that are the program related. A fight for the beach at Jamaica. Them need support, you know, people. Them a fight. I truly don't know them people that get a fight. Them people that need, I'll quote them people that have, me say, if no for them not understand what a cause is, you know. A cause is a purpose for change something from what it is. I quote them people that bring the people them where I have Jamaica landlocked, where the people them not have no rights to go to the beach. People, these are the same thing where, you know, this hour. Look on the year them people. 1862, 1865, 1880, 1890, 1869, right? 1836, 1837, 1942, 1918. Listen to them years, yeah, people, right? And these are the same things that's happening today. But less people are fighting for these things now. When we listen to Jabem, the president of I'm telling you, I'm gonna do a highlight on them because them need these highlights. We need people to talk about them things here. If 10 or 20 people on Twitter did a tweet about these things, if you make them things that go viral, or the things that them things that wouldn't change, it would change the trajectory. When we say we have to change the trajectory, these are the things where we have to do to change it. So the future, it's worth something. When the man say there's corporation that owns Jamaica, corporation that owns land at Jamaica, where them a try to bring them to court and they can't find them people here. So there's some people out there in the world that own Jamaica, have the people them under bondage, and then can't even find the people them. Imagine that thing. People, when the thing say the fight done, you don't have a cell phone, you don't have a smartphone, you can make so much difference. But you don't make the phone smarter than you. This is what it comes down to. You don't call it a smartphone and give it the power to make it smarter than you. When them people never have no phone, they never have no social media, they never have nothing, them just have the will and the power, the spirit, the strength to fight evil. And any evil when me say, anywhere there's injustice, dead. Anywhere injustice, dead. Because they might do something wrong. So even in a today's day, there's things to fight for. Them have cars out there. The Juneteenth, you know, Google the Juneteenth petition against the federal government to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. And how much petition them sign and the people them rather do research on how the journey was. So even though they can't change it, right? Even though they can't change it. Burkina Faso, Abraham Traoré, 2.5 years the man did a coup. The video where the man say, oh, Abraham Traoré is a criminal. Because you always have the critic who's gonna say the worst situation for us to be in is the best situation for us. The man take power, the man change up everything what Thomas Sankara did that talk about. The man manifests. So if we even dream about it now, it might manifest. Unity for us, betterment for we. Understanding say it has to change somehow, somewhere. The lady is 94 years old and she still a fight to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. So anytime when the thing say on too old or it can't be done, I'm not try convincing yourself that you don't want to do it or don't want the change. As we proceed, people.
Really was an excuse to get rid of Negroes who were acquiring wealth and property and thus keep the race terrorized and keep the niggers down.
Ida Wells is one voice that says that that these assumptions of Black people, that we can actually come to some negotiated settlement with whites in this period, is a false assumption, and that you have to fight. That the only way we're going to do it is to fight.
Ida B. Wells would eventually leave Memphis for Chicago. There she began her crusade against the murder of Southern blacks, which she would continue for the rest of her life. But across the South, lynching continued. Edward White, Vance McClure, Link Wagner, Robert Williams, George King, Scott Sherman, John Fry, Ovid Belzer, William Smith, Falcon Francis, A.L. Smart, Mr. and Mrs. Morris, Patrick Morris, Gilbert Francis, Bird Love, Isaac Pizer, Louis Senegal, Joseph Dizell, Frank James, Louis Munn, Hiram Whiteman, Pisano Lozano, Angelo Mongoso.
All heroes. Pure hero, I'm a call out, you know. All of them people are our heroes. Because them die for nothing. They're a sacrifice for nothing. Injustice. As we proceed.
Today, I think it's a lot of people think they just hung somebody, but a ritualized lynching was a part of the culture of the South that even religion.
It's a cult at that, you see? It's a cult. Let me tell you, people. Everything, you know, at that, it just, but we not call it for what it is. We not call it for what it is. It's sacrifice for their cult. That's what it was. Because I that them do. Aztec gods, them used to cut out the people, them heart and them things there. As we proceed.
Just in patriotic connotations. Think about this. Some white folk, if they had the time, dressed up in their old army garb, their old army uniform, to come out to a lynching. Racism reached a point, it was so dramatized and so ritualized and codified in the laws and in the practices that it was the most normal, patriotic, the most religious thing.
And that's what I say about George Floyd. It's a ritual, it's a sacrifice. That's what it is. That's why I know them are take him out of jail because he's doing job already. And the whole world see that. And out of that, what come out of that? What policy? What changes? I'm going to do that. I'm going to look it up. I'm sure there's a bill in there, but it not pass. Then probably have 1 and 2 bill where them bring to the house. But the house not sign it. Because you see, everything you have to do, you have to take it to the house. You have to take it to Master House, and Master House it doesn't mean that it will agree with what you bring to the house. It does not mean anything. What we don't want is not what we want. And if we don't want it, why should you get it? You know the funny thing about this program, people? This program don't have no commercial on it, you know. I'm going to keep on telling you, all of the program... all of the program, them will not have no commercial on them. We don't know. Certain brand don't want to be associated with the truth. You don't understand. Them don't want them brand associated to the truth. Them don't want changes. Them nah put no commercial. Them nah monetize, pay. No. Them nah pay them people for them things here. Because these are the truth. Them want them things you bury. But me say, it has to be told. It has to be repeated over and over so we get it. Because we still not get it. Actually, I know so we not get it. As we proceed.
That you could do is to worship segregation.
But in the sea of violence, there were islands of hope. One was in the Mississippi Delta, a town called Mound Bayou.
There was no other place for me other than Mound Bayou. To me, it was the greatest place around. People could, we have our own offices. I didn't have to walk down the street afraid.
This was something that was unbelievable in this very racial conscious era, where there was so few opportunities other than manual labor for Black people.
We had everything in Mound Bayou that art could desire. We had oil mills, we had stores, we had bottle works, we had hospitals, we had zoos, we had swimming pools. We had a lot of things that people would enjoy.
Mound Bayou was founded.
Hold on, people. Olivia. You hear the lady said them have swimming pool. You hear the lady said them have swimming pool, people. So swimming is not new to us. Enough people afraid to go. We don't know some people afraid to go river, you know. I learn to swim, you know. I can't live in Jamaica and I don't know how to learn how to swim, people. I don't understand that, you know. I mean, obviously, them are landlocked Jamaica, but still don't have rivers. And if you know support the movement to get back the beach, them job them. I want to introduce a route. I always have problem. Mahat. Right? She is running African program. She are one of the people them where highlight the happenings them that's happening in Jamaica, like from the beach and all of them stuff there. A fair program is usually on. But the very fact say there's a fight for what's important. The same thing them do to the river them, because them also take sand from the Rio Grande River, right? And it causes adverse reaction. People, there's so much stuff that's going on. There's so much fight going on in our food culture, right? I mean, I talk on YouTube against each other. I talk like fight for equal rights and justice, left, right, and center in our food culture. But those things are not being highlighted because I keep on saying people have their own agenda to keep food culture a certain way, or we're getting paid. Understand that? You're getting paid for see we in certain deplorable condition, mentally, emotionally, and physically. That's why it's so important for us to be educated. Each one teach one how to be better than people. As we proceed.
1987 by Black businessman Isaiah T. Montgomery, a Southern man with a simple philosophy.
It's a white man's country. Let them run it.
Isaiah Montgomery is a true American, and in a sense, he was extraordinarily opportunistic. Isaiah Montgomery had the ability to identify those individuals who had goods and services and political power and esteem in the community and ingratiate himself with those persons.
Following the lead of men like Pap Singleton, Montgomery planned to create a safe harbor for blacks.
It was not easy to find settlers in the early days. The task of clearing a wild country seemed hopeless to men with so few resources and so little experience. Isaiah Montgomery.
The Delta of Mississippi in the mid-1880s was nothing more than a wilderness. These black people who came to the Mountain Bayou area had to cut down trees, had to drain bayous, had to build up the land, had to fight off wild animals and snakes, and they lived as frontiersmen lived throughout the world.
Day by day, a town began to take shape. Churches, a post office, and schools replaced the forest.
My grandmother was Ada Simmons. She came here from Virginia. She wanted other than what she had been doing, the slavery and the people telling them what to do. And that there must be something else. There must be something that was, better than what she was living under.
Unlike some black communities, the whites did not come in and destroy the community like some communities. I believe because there was a notion that a separation of the was an answer to the race problem.
By 1890, Mound Bayou was on its way to becoming one of the most prosperous black communities in the country. The jewel of the Delta, as it would later be called. That year, Mississippi assembled a convention to pass its new Jim Crow Constitution. The only black delegate was Isaiah T. Montgomery.
Black people were looking for somebody that whites would accept. And so they elected Isaiah to go to this convention.
My mission is to offer an olive branch of peace to bridge a chasm that has been developing and widening for a generation that threatens destruction to you and yours, while it promises no enduring prosperity to me and mine.
Isaiah Montgomery, burning with desire to protect Mound Bayou from white intervention, agreed to vote in favor of an amendment to keep illiterates from voting. The law's real meaning was clear.
There is no use to equivocate or lie about the matter. Mississippi's Constitutional Convention was held for no other purpose than to eliminate the nigger from politics. Not the ignorant, but the nigger. James Vardaman.
Mississippi whites cheered, but to black leaders, Montgomery was a traitor and a turncoat.
He has virtually said to the nation, you have done wrong in giving us this great liberty. He has surrendered part of his rights to an enemy who will make this surrender a reason for demanding all of his rights. It is not a conscious traitor, but his act is an act of treason. Treason for the cause of the colored people, not only of his own state, but of the United States. Frederick Douglass.
Montgomery claimed the black vote was lost anyway. He hoped he had won a measure of safety for his people. Mound Bayou is the ship, he said. All else is an open, raging, tempestuous sea. While many black leaders, like Douglass, were outraged by Montgomery's vote, Booker T. Washington was not. By the 1890s, Washington's reputation as a spokesperson and fundraiser for Tuskegee was growing.
Booker T. Washington spoke in a language that everyone could understand. He had something for working class blacks. He had something for middle class blacks. He was able to, therefore, to control black businessmen. He was able to control black churchmen who admired the gospel success that he was articulating. And he was able to win the admiration of working class blacks who saw that all other alternatives had now been essentially exhausted.
Booker was nobody's fool. The Carnegies and the other benefactors of Tuskegee would not have contributed a dime if he, at that moment, had offered a threat to the existence that these wealthy white men were perpetuating.
Across the South, Black improvement seemed to be thwarted at every turn, and violence continued as a daily threat. Booker T. Washington searched for a compromise that might bring racial peace. His opportunity came in 1895 when he was invited to speak at the Cotton Exposition in Atlanta, Georgia. September 25th was proclaimed Negro Day, but the Black press tried to discourage Blacks from attending.
If Negroes wish to feel that they are inferior to other American citizens, if they want to see all sides, signs that say, for whites only, or no niggers or dogs allowed, if they want to be humiliated and have their man and womanhood crushed out, then come. Editor, Atlanta Voice.
James Creelman, a correspondent for the New York World, observed the crowd turn hostile when Washington mounted the speaker's platform.
When a colored man appeared on stage, a sudden chill fell on the whole assemblage. One after another asked, "What's that nigger doing on the stage?" James Creelman.
But when Booker T. Washington criticized his own people for seeking political and economic power during Reconstruction, the crowd listened.
Our greatest danger is that in the great leap from slavery to freedom, we may overlook the fact that the masses of us are to live by the production of our hands. The opportunity to earn $1 in a factory just now is worth infinitely more than to spend $1 in an opera house. Booker T. Washington.
And when he held his dusky hand high above his head with the fingers stretched apart and said to the white people of the South on behalf of his race, "In all things that are purely social, we can be as separate as the finger, yet one as the hand. In all things essential to mutual progress," a great sound wave resounded from the walls, and the whole audience was on its feet in a delirium of applause. When the Negro finished, such an ovation followed as I had never seen before and never expect to see again. White Southern women pulled flowers from the bosom of their dresses and rained them upon the stage. Tears ran down the face of the many blacks in the audience.
As news of Washington's speech began to spread, many in the Black community wondered, had Washington chosen to compromise their human rights in exchange for racial peace and economic stability? This generated overwhelming feelings of confusion, disappointment, even anger. But the white press across America rushed to embrace Washington's views. Former abolitionists, railroad tycoons, political leaders, even President Grover Cleveland wired their congratulations. No Black leader had ever before so eloquently defended Jim Crow. The speech would be celebrated as the Atlanta Compromise.
I think Booker Washington's idea of getting civil rights was, if you look like, act like, achieve like, work like, own businesses like, support the government like, pay taxes like everybody else, that the civil rights that you are entitled to will be given to you.
The South had demonstrated this was not the case. Only 12 months after the Atlanta Compromise, the highest court in the land would agree. 3 years before the Washington speech, a Louisiana shoemaker named Omer Plessy was fined $25 for refusing to leave a whites-only car on the Louisiana Railway. Plessy was only 1/8 Black, but on the Louisiana law, he was Black. By 1896, the case appeared before the United States Supreme Court. The court upheld the Louisiana law, stating that separate but equal facilities for Blacks and whites did not violate the Constitution's new guarantee of equal protection.
I feel
Only 3 decades earlier, the end of slavery had been the promise of a new day for Black Americans, in which they could earn their livelihood by their own freely chosen labor, educate their children, participate in government, and receive equal justice under the law. But despite the remarkable advances, those hopes were now dashed. Jim Crow was the law of the land, North and South, and so it would remain for half the century. Abandoned by the North, without allies in the South, Blacks continued to struggle for their freedom, relying on their families, churches, schools, and other organizations to sustain them. For Black Americans, no time since the end of slavery seemed so dark.
From home.
The tragic era of Jim Crow comes to life at PBS Online with interactive activity.
All right, people. Again, let's see. Always come down to the lie. It's always the lie. It's always injustice. It's always prove on yourself. But we prove yourself over and over and over and over. What more can we do? Apparently nothing, people. Because if you're not accepted, you won't be accepted. Like that, if you understand. And try to change the trajectory of our future. As we proceed, people, manners, respect, enough. People, thank you for the subscription. Thank you for the comment. There's always more to come, people. A lot more. As we proceed, I'm out.